Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Luca's dad. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. We've heard a lot about you. I mean, I grew up in Hamburg. I coached out in Hamburg for the Cagers and stuff, so I knew about your family, when everything happened, 2 years ago before COVID. Thank you for joining us first.
Well, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
The community, when your son tragically died, how emotional was that to see all the players and their jerseys stand out for your son?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, the Western New York community as a whole has been fantastic, but our Southtown area, the Hamburgs of the world, and Lakeview, where we're from, Fredonia and Dunkirk, where I grew up and my wife grew up, been absolutely fantastic in support. And it's great when the last 2 years with this tournament, and to see the kids coming out in their warm-ups with the tournament jerseys on and warm-up shirts with the Live Like Luca on. It's great. It's a great time to spend a few days watching basketball.
And obviously the Live Like Luca Foundation, in honor of your son, in creating that memory to make his life, live longer. How did that start, with keeping that going?
Well, it wasn't anybody's idea. It was about Luca's, actually. We left Little Cagers basketball practice one night, and we pulled into a gas station to get gas, and the Mega Millions and the Powerball was up. And earlier in the day, we were talking about all the things that we did in 2019, and we just got back from the Bills-Steelers Sunday night game when the Bills got into the playoffs, and we were starting to round out his 2020 was the St. Francis basketball camp, and we were talking about different things he was going to be doing. And I pulled in to get gas, and he said, "Wow, Dad," he said, "look at all that money." He said, "Could you imagine if we won the lottery?" He said, "to start a foundation for kids who aren't as lucky as me and a lot of my friends." And he passed away on January 11th. We were walking down the hall in Oshai, and I was there with a friend of mine, Chuck Alessi, and I said, "You know what we're doing? We're doing a foundation." He said, "Sounds good, let's do it." And within a week, we had pretty much our whole board, and people were literally, we had so many people wanting to get involved that we ended up with about 15 ambassadors, because otherwise we would have had a board of 40 people.
Yeah. And talk about the connection with St. Francis. I was talking to Coach Ferris.
Luca always came to this basketball tournament. He's known you guys for years. How great is it to have that connection with St. Francis that, Luca would have been 8th grade next year, where he may not be here, but he'll always be here because of the connection you have with Coach Ferris and the school?
Yeah, it's been wonderful in all actuality, because Luca came to the basketball camp. Coach Ferris's daughter is friends with my daughter, and they've played on soccer teams together a couple different times. So we've known each other, birthday parties and such, for a while. And like I said, Luca came to the camp, and it was his favorite camp. Absolutely loved it. And when everything happened, Brian reached out and said, I'd love to see what we could do, because what a lot of people didn't realize is that Luca, because of the camp, coming to the camp, he always thought that he was like, I had this kind of a little bit of a relationship with St. Francis, the school, and he really wanted to, as he kept saying, as I get older, and we had some friends who their kids came to school here as well, so they were always on him about Franny's. And the school's been absolutely fantastic. They allow us to host our 3-on-3 tournament, the Layups for Luca, that we're doing at the end of March this year. Last year we had 400 and some odd participants in it. Yeah. This tournament, obviously. So it's really good for us mentally, emotionally, just to know that he does have that relationship with the school that most likely he probably would have went to high school at.
And you have that connection with the Hamburg Recreation Department, Hamburg Cagers. You guys with the foundation have donated much needed scoreboards, and how great that is. I can't tell you in Boston, actually you'll be able to see the scoreboard. Now I have to look to the right. But that scoreboard, you don't know how much that means to those coaches and the kids, that's something special to them, and that's because of you and your son and what you guys were able to do with the foundation.
Yeah, I coached Little Cagers for a few years, and the reason I laugh when you brought it up is because there would be so many times, as you know, looking, you're on the side, and you'd have to peek around to see how much time was
Every
on the clock.
basket, you know, you don't know what the
and you
changes.
don't, exactly, and you lose track of the score, and then you're looking around to see how much time is left. So Josh Hayek at the recreation center, and he runs the Hamburg Little Cagers has run through that. He said, you know what, we could really use the scoreboards, and that was one of our first things that we did. Since then, it'll be 3 years that Luca passed away this coming January 11th. And we, in basically 2+ years of a foundation, we've been able to support almost 500 kids in the Western New York community, create opportunities and experiences for them through either sport or experiences like I mentioned, camps and such. And we've given out over $100,000.
That's fantastic. Well, I got time for one more question. Well, I want to just let you know, you sponsored our basketball team last year. We were the orange team. We both teams. We were able to garner $250 for your team or your organization, and it meant a lot for us to do that. But if Luca could say one thing to you and he's watching over, what do you think that he'd be most proud of watching you continue to, remember his life?
Wow, I mean that's a really hard question. To get a little bit more thought, I would need. But Luca, I'm sure he'd be very happy about a lot of the things that have transpired. The relationship with the Bills have been good to us, the Pagula Sports and Entertainment, St. Francis, just a lot of different organizations have been really good to us that he had a large affinity towards. And he would probably tell me that I need to hustle more. That's about it, to keep it going.
Well, Roger, I thank you for your time. When Francis asked me to do this game, I didn't look at I get to do play-by-play for St. Francis in here. I'm like, you know what, the Live Like Luca Foundation sponsored our basketball team, and growing up in Hamburg and knowing how close the community is, a great community. I was looking forward for the last 40 hours to get to talk to you, and my condolences, I know after 3 years, but just to meet you and to thank you for everything you've done for the community and stuff.
Well, thank you. I mean, if it wasn't for the community, we wouldn't be able to give back, because it's the people who donate their hard-earned money and their volunteering, their time, and their resources that make this all work. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to achieve what we've done.
Can you give the website for the people listening to donate?
Sure. It's www.livelikeluca with a C, not a K like Donchek. So it's livelikeluca.com.
Roger, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
And best of luck, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.